All right, the first thing I want to do is I definitely want to read through this poem with you. This is one of my favorite poems ever. I love Maya Angelou, and if this is your first introduction to her, hopefully you will learn to love her poetry as well. I have a feeling that a few of you are really going to like her work. So let's go ahead and start off. This poem in particular is called Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you possessed with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room? Just like moons and like suns, like the certainty of the tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. I rise, I rise, I rise. All right, so there's a couple words, if you didn't know what to be haughtiness is to be one with arrogance, feeling superior to others, kind of like in a snotty way, like you hold your head up, but maybe not pleasantly. Listen, haughtiness also could just mean overconfident. Tread, up here you'll see that it just means to walk. Beset, that means to be troubled. Persistently, like over and over and over. All right, you are watching this video right now because you want to compare my annotation to your annotation and just kind of see if you have the gist of this poem. Remember, when you're reading a harder poem, you don't need to understand line by line. You just need to get the gist of each stanza. So for stanza number 1, you may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. So I think this is just kind of like saying maybe if you wanted to walk all over me, go ahead and try. But I'm going to tell you, for your history books that from the very dust of the dirt, I will rise. In the next stanza, does my sassiness upset you? This clearly right here identifies her own tone that she's going to use throughout the poem. She identifies it herself. So if you were to ask me what the tone of this poem is, I would definitely say sassy. So I just think it's kind of funny that she does it first before you're even asked to identify it. She's like, listen, I'll just let you know the tone of my own poem. Why are you beset with gloom? In other words, kind of like, don't let this trouble you. Over and over. In other words, she's like, get over it. So as you can see, I wrote get over it for this line right here. So you can do the same if you want. And then this next line might have, I don't know if you guys picked this up or not. It's definitely a little bit harder. 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. And any of you know anything about oil, pumping oil, making oil, production of oil is always going to equal wealth, financially, well-to-do, lots of money. So, cha-ching. So she's kind of just letting you know that she doesn't need anything from you, that she feels like she has an abundance amount of wealth that are just pumping through her veins. All right, we can go on to stanza 2. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. So I like this stanza in particular because it took me a while to think about the meaning behind it, and I think this is the conclusion I personally have come to. You may have thought of the stanza as being different. Just like moons and suns, those are certain. They are never going to go away. The fact that tides, if you are a science geek, you know that the tides react to the moon and to the sun, that they go hand in hand. And it will always be like that. These two, you can count on them being together with certain. So I think she compares herself to certainty. Her resilience is certain. Like her being able to get back up again is certain. She knows that it will never alter. just as the tides will never alter to the moon and sun. So that's how I took personally that stanza. All right, the next one. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. I can sense the sarcasm in this stanza like no other. I think that this is directed towards her oppressors, the people who were bringing her down. So if we were to relate this to the topic that we're studying right now, I see this stanza honestly being directed towards white people. Well, let me narrow that down even more. White racist people that are being, acting inappropriately towards her with racism. So I think, I use the word society. Maybe you want to write that down. Society sees her as weak and broken due to her sorrows. And she's like, please, not even close to it. Appropriately, she accuses them of wanting to see this. So if you stop and think about the white man during this time period and how they were racist, she's kind of thinking, listen, I know you think you broke me and I know you want to see me broken, but you're not going to. All right. So please pause this video and write down any of my annotating notes as you see fit. In the next stanza, I like this line too. I like it when she's asking questions, but she's doing it in such a sassy and sarcastic manner. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard. Listen, she's like, if I'm sitting here and I'm telling you that you did not break me, perhaps my confidence and my superiority and feeling confident is making you uncomfortable because I'm telling you that you did not break me. She's wondering if that now is offending her oppressor. And she then goes on and says, oh, poor you, you'll be okay. And then she's like, because I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. I think what she's just kind of trying to say here, as you can see, I annotated, and you can write this down too if you want. She flaunts her success to those who have given her a hard time. So anybody that has oppressed her, pushed her down, held her down, she flaunts her success to anybody who may have tried to prevent her from succeeding. All right, and our last stanza. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise. I wrote over here, my little annotating note was that they will not prevail against her with their looks and words. They will not win. They will not prevail. So again, feel free to pause the video, rewind, add any of my annotated notes as you would like. The repetition at the end, I think in any poem when an author is trying to repeat something, this is strategic and is done to kind of emphasize to the reader the point that they're trying to make. A couple of themes and points that I wrote at the bottom of the poem, and you can either listen or you can add these if you want. In this poem, I think that she discusses how people have judged her, obstacles she has faced in her life, and adversity in her life. So I believe that these are the three big themes and topics that are kind of discussed in here. These points in particular, however, after each challenge, she demonstrates a positive attitude. So if you go back and you look at the stanzas, each time she brings up a challenge, she twists it and gives it a positive attitude. She remains positive throughout the entire poem and makes her oppressors look negative. Another point that she makes, instead of problems bringing her down, she's going to obviously rise. And as you saw, that was repeated several times with purpose. All right, another point she makes, the I rise repeats. I think I just talked about that, how she's just emphasizing that it was always in her control to rise and not her oppressors. That it wouldn't be up to them when she was going to get over it, not get over it, that all of it was in her control. And the last point I feel like she was trying to make, when she repeats you versus I several times to establish a warlike tone, if you were to go back into the poem, you would see that she starts off right away, you. Like I can just see her like pointing her finger, you know, and then you go back to the I will rise, and then I will rise, I will rise. That going back and forth with first person to second person, I believe it kind of brings on a you versus me. You know, basically kind of like a warlike, a challenge, if you will. All right, so there you have it. I have shown you how I annotated and how I found meaning from this poem. I wonder if you had half the notes that I had. If you were to take a step back here, you can see overall what true annotating looks like, and how much you had compared to what I did. And I think overall this poem, she's just letting you know that it's the strength of her character that she has within and how she holds herself. All right, so this assignment has a front and a back. You have probably at this point already listened to the lyrics of the song. And so now you're going to work on the back of the paper, and you're going to make a connection between the song lyrics and Maya Angelou's poem. You'll also at the same time be reviewing literary terms, which I kind of feel like we need to do. So there is the why behind this assignment. We are definitely reviewing our literary terms. When you are done answering the questions on the back of this paper, you need to keep this in the VIP section of your binder because you will be using it for tomorrow's assignment. For the rest of the period, you may either read from Fire from the Rock, or you can go to the figurative language tab on my website in your Chromebook and play some figurative language review games just to kind of refresh, since that's the point of today. All right, good luck on the back, and let me know if you have any questions.